You were 22, if I'm not wrong, when you have created the festival. It's not what a 22 years old would normally do. I mean, it was a sexual revolution. It was the 60s in the US. What was it? What made you do it? Courage, proving yourself, or a lifetime bet?
So, first of all, you must understand my background. My mother was a doctor, Italian. My father was a doctor, Polish. My aunt, uncles, all doctors.
Right.
So I studied to be a doctor, but I wasn't really that interested. So I started making movies along the way while I'm studying to be a doctor. It's difficult to say no to your mother, your father, your aunt and uncle. I don't want to be a doctor. But of course you want to be a doctor. I said, of course I do. Right? You must understand that. So I started making short movies and things on the side while I'm studying to be a doctor, to make them happy, but then I can make me happy, right? So I make a short film and I win some prizes at festivals and things, and I'm young. I'm, at that time, 19, 20 years old. So then I start thinking, okay, I love Chicago, I'm a Chicago person, and I'm starting to see what's happening in the world, and I want to change my city. I want to show people what they're missing in the world. And I told my father, I said, I want to see things. He says, okay. And he took me on a trip. I was 17 years old. And he took me on a trip. He never took a trip in his life. Very dedicated Polish man. Never took a trip. He said, I will take you on a trip. And he took me to see the world very quickly. In about 2 weeks, I saw everything.
Have you been to Poland?
Of course, he's Polish, of course, Poland.
Have you felt like coming home?
No. I'm an American. Home is Chicago for me. Please. So I saw everything, and I saw films and saw things. When I came back, more than ever, I wanted to do something in Chicago, something that was important, something to change my city. So at 22, I start this film festival thing. I got some people to help me, and we did it. And it started to grow. That's how a 22-year-old can start something.
The year was 1964.
That's right.
How was Chicago those days?
1964, I don't know. Chicago was, I don't know, I don't remember, you know. All I know is I had people that helped me start the festival, and one of them was a silent film movie actress. She had retired in Chicago. Her name was Colleen Moore, and she made films with D.W. Griffith and Lily Gish and Mary Pickford in the silent films. And she had retired, married and retired, and was in Chicago. And I met her, and she got involved. We became like a team. She became my new mother, because I have another mother with a doctor over here who doesn't approve. I said to my father, I said, I have to do this. And he said, okay, and I'll help you pay for it. But it's just a passing fancy, right? Because you're going to be a doctor. I said, yes. Okay. That's what I said. Of course I said. I lied to him. Anyway, this Colleen Moore, this wonderful lady, you must look her up sometime. She was an incredible comedian on the movies in the 20s, silent films. She introduced me to film people, her kind of film people. So of her era, so it's Joan Crawford, Betty Davis, and these directors, George Cukor, people, King Vidor, people of an era. And she said, you're too young. You look too young, you're too young. So we have to make you older. This is true story. Charlie Chaplin, then there's Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd. Harold Lloyd is the one hanging from the clock in the silent film, you know, he's hanging from that.
Yeah, right, it's famous, it's a
famous. He's got the glasses and all. That's Harold Lloyd. So she worked with Harold Lloyd, and she said, here, she had the glasses. She said, put these glasses on. They will make you older. And she said, and now you're going to be 27. It's a true story. She said, you are 27 from now on, because nobody will trust a 22-year-old. This is true.
Right.
So I was 27 years old, and it was working better. And then I got to meet more people, and the thing became stronger, and I stayed 27 for about 7 years. The festival is 50 years old. So if I was 22 years old, my God.
In those 50 years, I think that you were around the world at many, many festivals.
I've been on the jury of everybody.
Everybody. So
Berlin,
let's say
Berlin and Venice and Cannes. I've been on all the juries.
Right. So let's say Chicago Film Festival doesn't exist. Which one is the best festival in the world?
The best, number one festival in the world is the Cannes Film Festival. There's no question about that. That is the supreme, that is the place where you find films, you network, you show your film, you promote your film, you see the world. It's the best. It's the number one. Interesting, the very first film festival was Venice. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Venice. Mussolini started it. It was a cultural revolution.
You mentioned yesterday in your speech before a film that the main goal, if I may say so, of the festival is finding new directors. Do you still have the thrill? Yeah, do you still have the thrill of seeking new directors, of reading the scripts and judging their work and looking for them?
That's probably the only reason it still interests me after 50 years. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to find films here. I'm going to see films here, sure.
What does a young filmmaker needs to have to make it in a cinema world?
I don't know. You have to have imagination. You have to have courage to put your dream on the screen, you know?
I have to ask you this question, otherwise they will fire me. What film could you say marked your life? If you have to choose one title.
There are two films, just to know one film. There are two films that really I like for different reasons, but they represent Hollywood, they represent American film. You've seen Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane to me is the number one, but the second film that represents everything that I love in film is called Singing in the Rain. And we got the rain here, so I've been singing in the rain. Yeah, those two, one is Hollywood, and one is the imagination of a very young man, Orson Welles.
Yeah, right. How would you...
From Chicago.
Yeah, the musical.
No. Orson Welles lived in Chicago.
Yeah, no, but what about the musical? Because you talked also about the musical Chicago. Does it represent your city? It's
a real story, yeah. Have you seen the movie?
Sure.
It's an absolutely real story. That woman existed. She killed people. It's real. It's a real story. That film has been made at least 5 times. That's a great piece of imagination. A musical of a story of the young girl who kills people. Excellent acting, too. This is a city that looks like it should be making movies. Even in the rain, walking around, it looks like people should be making movies here. It's beautiful. It has a charm and an old and a new and young and a good vitality. This would be a great place to make movies, because it doesn't look real.
Well, in the moment we'll find the money to do it, because we have the rain, we have the imagination. It's just a little bit more just to...
I'm surprised. You don't have the money. I mean, people should come here and make the movies.
Yeah.
I would think this is a great place to make movies.
Oh, I see what you mean, like a studio. Right.
Filmmakers.
Filmmakers.
Not just studios, filmmakers, sure. It looks like a movie set.
Right. Well, with your help and the other guests, maybe spreading the word.
That's why you do these film festivals.
Right.
It's absolutely true.
Right.
And Tudor is very clever. He knows that he's a good promoter. He could get people to come here and make movies. Yeah.
Now, tell me, that would be the last question. How would, unless you want something else to say, then I will ask you to do something for us. How would you set the difference between the American mainstream and the rest of the world, actually, the Europe films or the Asian films?
The problem where film is going today in America is the film studios, they can't stay alive unless they continually make these same films, these Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these giant, big Transformers and Hunger Games and Vampire Diary things. That's unfortunate. They can't make movies anymore. They can't stay alive unless they do these huge, huge movies. They've lost the chance to make the small films. So we need the independent filmmakers to make movies, and that's what's happening in the rest of the world. But the Hollywood system is unfortunately stuck in this rut of they have to turn it off, this big profit in 3D and IMAX and destruction. I mean, I like those films. I like the escape films. But it's unfortunate they don't make small films anymore. They can only afford to make the big films. So the studio starts a small division of independent films, and even those are not working too well. So we rely on films from all over the world now.
Right.
So I was in China recently talking about films at a film school, and the young filmmaker said, all we want to do is we want to make Transformers. That's what we want to do. We don't care about making small movies. And because they have so much money, that's what they're going to do, which is sad. Right. They feel they must make those movies. So they are.
Well, fortunately, there are other people who express themselves in the small movies, like you name them, and they still exist in the festivals.
Exactly. And festivals are the place where you see them. I mentioned that yesterday over at your art cinema. These film festivals, like this one, is the niche market where you're going to see these. Otherwise, you're going to see them on video, DVD, or on your telephone, or on your your slate thing. I want to see movies big. I want to see big movies. Right. And film festivals, that's the last resort now. You can see them. My first suggestion would be to change the name. I told Tudor and I told Mia, absolutely, TIFF is silly. This is the Transilvania International Film Festival. Sorry. TIFF are the initials of the Toronto Film Festival, the Tokyo Film Festival. There must be 5. And I thought, you must be more unique, and you have a great logo, that little castle thing, great logo, and a great name, Transylvania, and you should make that into something unique. I'm a designer too. I mean, I see your banners with the castle and the name, I said, that's great. TIFF is not the way to go. That's my advice.
Okay, so I will write it down and you will sign it. Yeah.
Then you put this in a capsule and in 50 years you open this up, right?
Yeah.
Take it.
Thank you very much. Do you know what a TIFF is? A TIFF is, it's a picture together with a guest. So let's have a picture.
Okay.
Thank you.